The latest report shows a further easing off in inflation in rents, but really that's a bit deceptive because rents in Dublin aren't increasing as fast as they were a year ago. So a year ago, rents were going up by about 16% a year. That's halved now, it's about 8% a year. So it's still going up and still going up well ahead of general inflation in Dublin. But that easing off in inflation sort of drags down the national figure. Elsewhere in the country though, particularly in the commuter areas around Dublin, inflation in rents has actually picked up. And that really connects to I suppose the biggest headline out of this report is the lack of availability of rental units. So if you go on to the Daft site now, there are fewer properties to choose from to rent than at any point since we started calculating figures back in the start of 2006. So really there's very little supply, so that all the pressure at the moment is upward on rents. You need for downward pressure on rents is, you need an excess of supply over demand, and we are far from that in the Irish rental market at the moment. It's the growing population, but a fixed stock of homes. So that's clearly putting pressure not just on rents, upward pressure, but also pressure on prices. That's where the underlying demand comes from. As to whether rents can continue to go up rapidly, that comes back to people's incomes. At some point, you can't devote more and more of your income to paying for rent because you have other things that you have to pay for. So what we will find is people paying through time. So what they'll do is they'll use the ability to commute longer distances and rent cheaper further out. And we're seeing that already, that not just the sort of 4 closer commuter counties, but even going beyond that into Westmeath and some of the other outer commuter counties, that previously, say 10 years ago, people were buying there with a view to maybe moving to Dublin later on. Now people are renting out there and having to commute to Dublin on a daily basis, or certainly to the M50 ring. So people are paying because they can't pay more in income. You just reach a point where you can't pay more. They're paying in time and fuel as well as in rent. The big unknown in this is whether the government actually addresses the high cost of building new homes. So even if land were free and your capital were free, so you'd no money to pay on land and there was no profits, the break-even rent in building a 2-bed apartment now is about €1,300 a month. That's well above rents where rents are currently in most parts of the country. Really only Dublin 4 and maybe Dublin 2 and Dublin 6 can afford that kind of rent. So the maths don't stack up, and that's without any profit and without any cost of land. So the cost base, something like €2,000 a square metre in Ireland, is about twice what it should be. If you look at other European countries, we should be trying to target €1,000 a square metre as the cost of building new homes. And until the government tackles that or comes up with a plan to tackle that and lower the cost of building new homes, we're going to find that there's very little supply and growing demand. And that means that there's only upward pressure on prices and rents. Now the question is, how much can rents go up? And with limited incomes, I'm not sure that Dublin rents are able to go up by much more. In fact, it looks like in the last few months that the increases are much smaller on a month-on-month basis. But there's still scope for people to have to travel much longer distances. I don't think that's healthy for the people involved. It's not healthy for the country as a whole if we're wasting fuel on people and time on people travelling up and down an hour each way every day. Where are rents going to go? The pressure at the moment is mostly upwards, and stopping that from happening, to do that we'll need to address the high cost of building new homes.